came from. Act like a man!
Upgrade to Sky Movies by pressing the red button or phoning this number now.
Hello there, very good evening to you. We're going to take a look at tomorrow's newspapers now. Joining us this evening is Ian Dale, the publisher of Total Politics magazine, and the comedian Steve Day. Very good to have you both with us. Thank you very much indeed. Let's talk about Gordon Brown again, shall we? David Miliband written an article in The Guardian, and it's been touted as yet another bid for the leadership.
Well, I've got the article here, and I don't interpret it that way. The only way I think it can be interpreted that way is because it's appearing today. Why write an article at the moment if you don't want it to be interpreted in that way? But what David Miliband has actually done here is articulated a vision, which is what Gordon Brown has found really difficult to do over the last year.
To listen?
No, articulated a vision.
Right, sorry. Right,
you need to listen.
I do need to listen.
And it's actually quite a compelling vision. If you're in the Labour Party, you would read this and think, well, he gets it. He knows what we need to do. So from that point of view, you can interpret it, I suppose, as some sort of leadership bid. But the Guardian have sort of quoted from it fairly liberally, and they've got a very interesting quote here from an MP who said he needs to show he's thinking that involves not clambering out of the hole we're in, but leaping out of the hole we're in. And that's really what Gordon Brown has got to do. When he comes back from his holiday, he's got to show Labour MPs that he knows how to get out of this hole.
Yeah. I think Gordon's so far behind, he needs snookers, to be honest. It reminds me of a comedian who's been the supporting act for years and years, done quite well, and then he's finally got to be, I want to be the headliner, and now he's the headliner. Quite frankly, he's dying on his arse. And he's reached the point now, I think, Gordon, when it doesn't matter what he says. Now, he might as well just enjoy it. Now, and if he started saying, oh, Harriet Harman with a bulletproof stab vest and all that, she's, you know, this, and the fact that Miliband coming out of number 10 looks a bit like Joey Barton coming out of prison today, that he might as well say these things. And then he might reconnect with people. To be miserable, Gordon, you've got no chance. Might as well do something.
So what you're saying is he's got to loosen up and show us a new Gordon.
Well, I think he's got nothing to lose.
But this is a man who has dreamed about this job for years and years. The chances of him loosening up are about as likely as pigs really flying over the moon.
Well, I've done it. I've been there saying, make me the headliner, make me the headliner. They make you the headliner and you think, oh, hang on a minute, it's a bit harder than I thought it was going to be. He's in that position. What are you going to do? Just let it go, Gordon. Just start to have a laugh.
Maybe take his jacket off while he's on holiday.
He wasn't in his shorts, was he, in Suffolk, unlike David
gloves
Cameron.
Off, if you ask me.
Yeah. But on to the Times as well. This is, I suppose, still talking, isn't it, about the Guardian article written by David Miliband, but also saying that he's planning a series of speeches setting out his vision for the party's future.
But this is not news. This was reported a month ago that David Miliband was going to make these speeches over the summer. And what's wrong with a politician making a series of speeches about how he sees the future? The trouble is that anyone in the cabinet now is damned if they do, damned if they don't. If they speak out, they're damned because journalists are looking for any single little nuance in a speech. And if they say nothing, people say, well, why aren't they saying anything? Because they should be out there supporting their leader. So, I mean, to that degree, I feel some sympathy for them. But the one person I don't feel any sympathy for today is Harriet Harman, who's really put her foot in it, I think.
If this is true, because she denies it.
Well, she does deny it. Tell
us what the story is, first
The Times ran a story earlier on their website today saying that after the Glasgow East by-election, she said to some of her aides, this is my time, this is my moment. A bit Martine McCutcheon-like there. But she's now denied saying that completely, but she's actually made it worse because in her statement she says about Gordon Brown's leadership, I do not accept it is over. Well, why say it in the first place? All you're doing is reinforcing the view that, well, it might be over. So I think she's really put her foot in it today.
Yeah, it's difficult though. All the so-called contenders, first of all, nobody really knows who they are. There's no heavyweights there. Nobody stands out. They're a bit like Big Brother contestants. You know, they're not allowed to talk about the eviction coming up or whatever. And if they do, they get slung out of it. It's impossible. That's why when I saw Harriet in her stab vest in Peckham, which is not far from me, she immediately ruled herself out on fashion grounds and judgment as well. But anything these people do now they're going to be picked upon. You know?
Steve, do you think people in this country would allow a second Labour leader to come in, second after Tony Blair, and still not have a general election?
No, it's always difficult. Where Gordon lost it, I think, was last October when he said, I will, you know what, I won't. And everybody thought, oh, Gordon, give us a break, you promised it. And at that point, I think every news story's been posed against him. There's nothing he could do. He goes on holiday to Norfolk and he's made to look like a gypsy. He goes to America, he's made to look like he's not supporting the British economy. You know, he can't win, basically. He might as well enjoy it.
He's actually in Suffolk.
Silly?
He's actually in Suffolk.
Is he? Well,
Yeah.
there you go, you see. People are saying he's in Norfolk when he's actually in Suffolk. This is the kind of spin
You mean you are?
that's being put on the news by commentators.
Yeah, okay. Can I ask you very quickly, though? I mean, obviously, we've got the summer holidays to digest what might or might not happen. By Christmas, will there or will there not be a leadership challenge to Gordon Brown?
I think there's got to be. I think, well, Gordon might as well put yourself out of your misery, Gordon. You're not going to get an encore, that's for sure.
I don't think so. I don't think the Labour MPs have got the stomach for it in the end. I don't think they've got the courage to sort of come over the trenches, all guns blazing. And I think they would be absolutely mad to do so, because if they're in marginal seats and they want to keep their seats, changing a leader isn't necessarily going to help them do that, particularly if that leader is then forced by sort of media pressure from the public to call an election. So they might as well have another 18 months in the job and hope that something turns up, because I think that's the best they can
hope
hope
for.
for.
Their stomach since John Prescott left. That's the sign.
Yeah, I don't think that's possible now. Let's move on to the Daily Telegraph now. Radovan Karadzic gangs in clashes with police. Let's just take a look at some of these pictures if we can. There's the article in the Telegraph. The latest we're hearing is that 46 people have been injured, 25 policemen and 21 civilians. Most likely injured, we're being told. Doctors saying only one civilian and one policeman have actually been hospitalised, but a Spanish TV journalist was among the injured. Our extraordinary pictures from earlier today. Bits of scaffolding being thrown, as you can see, other missiles at the riot police, who'd certainly been very much aware that this might happen, the ultra-nationalists in support. Concrete being thrown as well, and later as the riot police moved on, certainly they used their batons and very fiercely tried to push back these protesters, deemed to be about 100 of them out of a crowd of about 15,000. But Steve, you've got very strong views about Karadzic.
Yes, I have. Karadzic, or however you say his name, the people on that demonstration, supposedly ultra-nationalist Serbians, but I think a significant proportion of the people on that demonstration, and some of the people who may have been injured, were people who signed up for his quantum thing, his quantum medicine. There will be
The
people
alternative
there.
medicine he practiced.
That's right, his medical practice, alternative medical. There will be people who have paid for 10 sessions. They got 3. They are very, very angry. He was quite good, you know, they'll be saying. But when I think about Karadzic, the best thing to do with him, if he's extradited to The Hague, if he stands trial, that's going to take a long time. He will be in Europe for years. And by the end of that process, I believe he will be then qualified to play cricket for England. See, this is what we're not doing at the moment. We'll have anybody, you see.
The Hague is not in England, though.
No, but it's Europe, you see. Once you come to Europe as an outsider,
Well,
you
so
can.
Serbia
So
hope to be.
Serbia.
He could be the firepower that we're lacking. We cannot get a single South African
an
wicket.
unfortunate
Steve
phrase,
Harmison will never.
firepower.
You can't play Harmison because he's English. He's unqualified. What we need, Karadzic in the bowling line. He's perfect. Get back to his quiff days.
Stop. It's a theory, but it's not going to win out. Should we move on? Daily Express. Unless you've got something to say
no,
about it.
I have nothing to say.
Nothing to say.
No,
We'll see what
really
happens. I mean,
haven't.
we'll wait and see if he's extradited, as you say, to The Hague. Moving on to the Daily Express, Joey Barton.
Well, Joey Barton's been extradited out of jail today, but not extradited out of Newcastle, rather surprisingly. Kevin Keegan has made clear that he's going to stay in the team. However, the Express are reporting that Nike, the sportswear company, have sacked Joey Barton. So he's kept his Newcastle contract, but he's been dumped by Nike, and that will have cost him a few £100,000.
A lot of people will say good, and that Newcastle could have taken this opportunity to give a very good example to young
I think they should
people.
have extradited him to The Hague to start off. War crimes, crimes against humanity in the Premier League. They could have swapped him over with Karadzic. Kevin Keegan would have given Karadzic a second chance. He's that sort of bloke. Karadzic with his quiff in the front line for Newcastle. If they're serious about getting into the top 4, then they've got
have had a couple of Serb. It was Ketsby. No, he was. No, he was Ukrainian, wasn't he? Anyway, but the point here is that I'm going to defend Barton. I don't know why I am, but I'm going to. He served his prison sentence. Do we not believe
74 days of it.
Well, 74 days of it, but that's not his fault. Do we not believe that prisoners deserve to be rehabilitated?
It's not the
what would
only
happen?
incident he's been involved.
No, it isn't. But what would happen now if he was sacked by Newcastle and just wasn't taken on by any other club? he'd probably end up like Gaza or something, wouldn't he?
So you think time spent rehabilitation required? That's not very conservative.
Well, I was actually playing devil's advocate, but
Okay.
if he is a very talented footballer, he cost Newcastle £5.5 million. Are they really going to
They
throw
can't
that
afford
away?
not to.
I don't think so.
And do you think that's why they've kept him on then, rather than through any humanitarian?
Well, in
reason?
football, money talks, and Mike Ashley, the owner of Newcastle, is looking to sell the club at the moment. He's not going to throw £5.5 million worth of player away, is he?
Well, I think that there's a place for people, Dwayne Chambers, Joey Barton, Radovan Karadzic, in a front line together. I think that would be a powerful front three. I believe
Stan
in second
Collingwood.
chances for everybody.
Shall we move on?
If anybody got injured, then Radovan could treat them in a quantum medicine type way.
He's not going to be playing for Newcastle United. Now then, back to the Daily Telegraph. Mind the gap. Fines
Yes.
for careless parking and stonking fines as well.
I think we're all rather fed up with being fined for relatively insignificant things, particularly in our cars. And the government have come up now with another stealth tax where they want to fine us £70 if we park too far away from the curb. And what they define as too far is, wait for it, 19.7 inches.
Steve was Steve, you were demonstrating exactly what
Yeah, well,
19 inches
19,
looks
fair
like.
enough, 20, I'm sorry.
Well, I mean, I hope you got your ruler to
To the 0.7.
But a ruler only goes up to 12 inches normally, doesn't it? So, I mean, they're going to give councils more powers to levy more fines, and it's not as if it's a heinous offence to park your car a little bit away from the curb. I was about to say something very sexist then about women drivers parking, but then I thought I'd better
No,
not.
that's so not right,
No.
honestly. What are you possibly thinking of?
If you can't park 19.7 centimetres away from a curb, you should really see thinking about should you be driving. But the thing about this, council run, just like the decriminalised so-called parking ticket system, which is the licence for the council to make money, they will come around and get you. I've had traffic wardens telling me I could park there, wait until I got round the corner, then sprinting out to give me a ticket. Pay £70 or £140 and risk losing your house and children if you don't do it. The thing is a money-making exercise. That's what I don't like.
Well, the AA are very much against it. They're saying it's going to introduce a massive grey area which will lead to countless disputes where motorists will say they were unaware they were doing anything wrong.
Not only that, if you're illegally parking 19.7 inches out and somebody hits you with a wing mirror, you may have no claim against them. Anyway, should we move on? That's just me thinking about that. Lots more still to come, including one for you two gentlemen. Find out how men might like to use, or what men might like to use, in order to enhance their looks.
Who are these people? These masochists who wear their hearts on their sleeve. The angry who stir those trying to sleep. The lovers who hate, the haters who love. These loudmouths who put into words what you and I choke on. These great artists who express what we can only feel. Sky Arts, Channel 267.
I started dancing when I was 3 years old, and I went on to train at the Royal Ballet School. Little did I know then that I wasn't going to be a dancer. I was going to play wheelchair basketball and win 2 silver Paralympic World Cup medals. In 2006, I became the world champion in arms-only single scull. My dream now to bring back a gold medal from Beijing later on this year. The more I see of life, I realise you're not one thing, but many things.
The Sunday Times, for all you are.
Fantastic! A wedding! Hang on, Dave Double X, aunts and uncles, I make that Pips o'clock, don't you? Oh, nasty scratch on your record. Good job, Harriet here.
Anyone for Pims?
If you think you've seen it all, look again.
There's something else going on here.
8 strangers, 8 points of view, 1 terrifying conspiracy. Dennis Quaid, Forrest Whitaker. Vantage Point on Blu-ray and DVD Monday, August 4th.
Yes, thanks. We're really sure we can deliver on this job. We are the market leaders, we're highly professional, and I can guarantee...
I've won.
Play online and we'll email you if you win. Lotto. Who's next?
More is rewarding loyalty. So we now welcome all new car insurance customers with a 10% discount in the first year. Stay with us and we'll give you a 20% discount in the second